sorry, one more. The Walking Dead as well, one of the greatest shows as well until season 6, season 7, then they start getting a little bit,
Yeah.
But
I agree.
I lasted about 2 seasons in Walking Dead, and I bounced off it at the same point. I bounced off the comics as well, which is when they start to leave the prison. And
Damn, Daniel.
That got tired very quickly.
Bonjour. How's everyone doing? We are back with another episode. Well, we're back with another topic. But before I introduce the topic, I need to do, the regular schmegular introductions. What's good, Daniel? What's good, Hervey?
Hi.
Yo, what's up?
Yeah, guys, we're back again. And today's topic, we'll be discussing hidden gems. Guys, what would you say is your hidden gem film? Who wants to start?
I can go first. So mine is The Returned, which is a 2013 Spanish-Canadian zombie movie. The premise is essentially that it's several years after a zombie apocalypse, which has been overcome. And there are a number of people in the world who are infected by the zombie virus, but they didn't turn into zombies. And they have to take a drug on a regular basis to keep from turning. And that is basically how the existence of zombies is being managed. And the story is basically about what happens when there's a shortage in the drug. From the perspective of a nurse whose job it is to administer this drug to patients, and her husband who is infected. And yeah, it's aside from just being a really solid movie, it's also kind of proof of my thesis that the zombie genre is only overplayed because everybody keeps making the same movie, everybody keeps making Day of the Dead, but there's a lot more you could do with that premise and with stories based around zombies. And this movie just goes into an area that I think is underserved in general, which is what happens after the zombie apocalypse and how people rebuild and move on with their lives without everything collapsing into the Mad Max scenario. So it ticks all the boxes of things I want to see in a zombie movie. And aside from that, it's just a solidly made movie with likable characters, a solid story, good tension and everything, and nobody's seen it. Even just finding it on Wikipedia took me several attempts because it goes under several different names. But yeah, that's my pick for best ratio of quality to obscurity.
How did you come across it?
Found it randomly on some streaming service. Just clicked on it one day and suddenly, 2 hours later, I'd found this gem of a movie and nobody knows about it.
Damn! So there wasn't even like any Google reviews.
I mean, I'm sure some people have talked about it, but it's not something people mention. It's not something that I've ever seen advertised anywhere. It just kind of exists, and this predates the streaming era as well. So it doesn't have the excuse of being a straight to Netflix movie that didn't get marketed or something. It just got made. I think box office is 500,000 or something, and then it disappeared into streaming and probably cable TV and whatever else. But yeah, it just ticks a whole bunch of boxes of things a lot of people want to see in zombie movies, including myself. And so it's a shame that nobody knows about it.
I hear it. Yeah, I hear it because we've been speaking about that as well. Because unfortunately, I'm the guy that's easily entertained when it comes to zombie films. Anything that's got zombie in it. Actually, not anything, but most things that have zombie in it with a pretty decent storyline, I can dig it. Do you know what I'm saying? But I do understand where you're coming from because a lot of the storylines for zombie movies or TV shows are pretty much the same. So
And I liked it the first 30 times as well, but I think you can just do much more. Like one of my favorite zombie stories is World War Z, which is a similar thing. It's all about the reconstruction and what happens afterwards, and how the zombie outbreak is brought under control again. And to me, that's the more interesting part. Like the whole zombies appear, and within 10 minutes, all of society has collapsed, and everybody's turned into a Mad Max character. just is not that interesting. Like, that's nothing wrong with it once or twice, but it's the template that every zombie story follows, basically. And it just gets a bit samey, and so I appreciate it when somebody tries something different.
No. Okay, I respect him. Harvey, I'm guessing you're not too much of a zombie fan.
No, I don't mind zombie movies. One of my, I don't mind as a good zombie movie. Of course, you've got the one with Will Smith. Is it I Am Legend?
Oh yeah. I'm looking forward to I Am Legend 2, by the way, which is coming out.
Yeah, and like things like Zombieland as well. I actually haven't watched World War Z. I know I probably should have because I know it's got good ratings. But things like Zombieland and stuff like that, I don't mind a zombie movie.
Okay, my bad. Yeah.
Underestimated me.
Yeah, I felt bad. I just remembered that you're not too much of a fan of the horror genre. Wait, okay. To be fair, zombie films shouldn't really be considered as horror, but that's another conversation. That's another topic for another day. But yeah.
Also, sorry, one more. The Walking Dead as well, one of the greatest shows as well until season 6, season 7, then they start getting a little bit,
Yeah. But I agree.
I lasted about 2 seasons in Walking Dead. And I bounced off it at the same point I bounced off the comics as well, which is when they start to leave the prison. And that's where the part where I realized that, this is an infinite loop of the same story structure over and over again, and nothing will ever get better, nothing will ever get accomplished. And that's kind of a microcosm of what I think is wrong with the zombie genre. His story and the characters is great, but it just seems like it's this constant loop of nothing ever gets better and nothing ever is accomplished, and everybody's just trying to exploit each other with no exceptions. And
damn, Daniel.
That got tired very quickly.
Damn, you missed the whole Negan saga.
I was gonna say that's when it peaked.
Yeah, that was when it got. That was literally the pinnacle for me. All anything zombie related films, TV shows. For me, the Negan saga, that was the functional equivalent of that was Frieza in Dragon Ball Z. I'm telling you.
Maybe then I check it out. It just every time I check out clips from Walking Dead, it seems like a clip from season 2 is the same as a clip from season 5. And the kind of the same thing happens, and it's the same tone, and I don't know. It's maybe I should give that show another shot, but it's kind of a microcosm of kind of the stasis of the zombie genre to me.
I feel like even if you did it just to watch Negan's performance, what's the actor called again? I forget his name, but just the way that he brought that character to life was immense. Like one of the coldest villains that you've ever seen on TV or in movie. Just everything about him, his presence, everything was just immense. To a point that I fell off afterwards, because obviously he then was defeated, got captured. Sorry, I mean spoilers. You might may or may not watch it, but he was captured, he was defeated, and then he gets assimilated into the community, and he's not really much of a bad guy anymore. And then it just kind of killed the character for me. So then I fell off the show at that point. But just that whole period of sort of Negan being a threat was just some of the most menacing things I've seen on TV, and it was great.
But you do see fragments of his old self in the new series. Well, it's not new anymore. I think the last episode for that was a couple of months ago, but in Dead City. So yeah, I think it's a Walking Dead spin-off, I believe. But yeah, you do definitely see fragments of that reappearing in that show. So yeah, Daniel, even I think he's that personality of his is something which can work universally, because he's even in The Boys, right? He has snippets of him. Yeah, there were snippets of him in the new Boys trailer, and the way he was, like, just the few snippets I saw of him, the way he was acting like that in there, I was thinking, this guy is Negan. You know what I'm saying? That's how impactful his performance in The Walking Dead was in The Walking Dead. No, that's how impactful his performance was in The Walking Dead show, because the fact that he's still allowed to use that type of character, like that character, in a whole different franchise, universe, whatever, he can still use that there and be acceptable, and everyone's still well liked. That's how his performance was crazy, and his impact on the whole show was unbelievable.
Yeah, the actor wasn't Supernatural as well, and he was great there as well.
What was his?
So I totally believe it.
I wonder what his personality was like in there.
Not the same. He was not a villain in that, but still, great performance.
Okay, cool. All right, well, Irving, we're gonna leave you to last because I know with this topic, I'm saying it was a bit techy, it was a bit sticky one still, but I will leave you to last. Do you mind me going next? Do you guys mind me going next?
Go for it.
Cool. So, guys, if you haven't heard of this film, I'm not surprised because Hulu did a terrible job and made a terrible executive decision releasing this on streaming. Even though they did show it in selective cinemas, such as View, but not in all the views, like the screening was very limited. They made a terrible choice releasing this straight to streaming. Honestly, they even did the same with Prey, the Predator film, which that probably should have gone into theaters. But my hidden gem film is Barbarian. This came out in 2022, I believe. Basically, quick recap of what happened, synopsis of what happened. Woman books out a rental home, which has already been booked out by someone else. She decides to stay with the guy in this rental home. They have a good time, few wines. You're thinking, okay, something mad's about to happen between them two. But no, nothing mad actually happens between them two. They actually end up discovering a hidden basement. Well, it's not really hidden, it's a basement. But so they discover a basement and madness happens. Now you're thinking basement, okay, typical scary house basement, cool. But no. Guys, when I tell you, it's not what you expect. Honestly, like even the plot twist within this film was not expected because what the trailer gave to us wasn't a completely different story from what we saw, but it was a piece of the story from what we saw. Like honestly, the trailer was so deceiving. Sometimes when a trailer is deceiving, it doesn't work because if the trailer is deceiving and the film's rubbish, then that's very bad. But this time the trailer was so deceiving that it made us appreciate the film even more. Because that's a lot of, I even was watch a lot of reviews to this, and people who don't care about giving spoilers didn't give spoilers to this film. They said, guys, I'm not even going to tell you what the hell this film's about. Just go and watch it, because they didn't want to ruin the experience for you. You have to go and watch the film for you to understand why this film is so good and why I cannot reveal it to you, because it'll just spoil the whole thing. Honestly, guys, I wouldn't really consider this a horror, even though it is classified as horror. There were horror elements and there was like a few jump scares, but it's just the story in itself is just unexpected, and the way that different characters, so not different, like I'll say two main character stories entwine. Yeah, it was a good watch. It should have been released in theaters, honestly. A very good watch. I'm just so annoyed it wasn't released in theaters at the time, and it's definitely a film that hasn't been talked about. But yeah, for me, that was one of the best horror movies of that year. But yeah. You're gonna check that out, man.
I was gonna say no surprise. I haven't heard of it because again, I don't do horror. But
yeah, but it's not But honestly, it's light horror. It's not the horror where it's not gut wrenching horror where I'm saying, like, horrors such as Evil Dead and friggin' The Omen, where there'll be times where you're looking away from the screen. It's not like that at all. No. It's one of those. I say it's more, like I said, it's more of a thriller than anything. I'm saying, so yeah, a dark thriller, I'd say. So yeah, I think you'd enjoy it.
Exactly.
Both of you would enjoy it. Yeah. Well, guys, thank you very much for listening to our hidden gems. If you agree or disagree with any of us,
you completely cut me out.
Oh crap! Oh no!
You didn't want to hear mine. You didn't even want to hear mine.
No, my man. You know what it was? Because it was like a moment of silence. I was thinking, okay, then we're gonna jump in. Oh, okay, once we finish, I completely forgot. My bad. Guys, last but not least,
me. I mean, to be honest, mine's not really a hidden gem. And mainly, the main reason for that is I've got terrible memory. So even if I've watched a very niche movie that I've really enjoyed, I've probably forgotten about it. If it's not a movie that I've watched over and over again. And again, it's like tough to follow you guys because you guys have watched some very, Daniel especially has watched some very obscure movies. So very, very tough to follow. But my not so hidden gem, but a movie that may have been missed by people of sort of my generation and younger is Catch Me If You Can. And this movie, I believe, came out early 2000s. And it's about a character called Frank Abagnale. He's like a very sort of young man. He's like sort of 17, 18 years old. And essentially, he's sort of one of the greatest con artists, basically. And it is essentially based on a true story. So there is a real Frank Abagnale. But basically, he cons his way to being, a pilot, a doctor, a lawyer. He sort of cons his way into sort of forging banknotes. Checks as well. Back in the day, for the banks. And it's like a really kind of warm story where you've got like the law enforcement, the FBI, that are sort of kind of after him. They're chasing him, and he's sort of very elusive, very sort of difficult to catch. And then over time, like they essentially kind of I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to spoil it because I was about to give a spoiler or whatever like that. But essentially, it's called Catch Me If You Can for a reason. Basically, he's this one big con artist being chased by the FBI. Is it a spoiler to say that eventually they do use him? That he does sort of work. Sorry, go on.
I wouldn't say it is. Say it is.
Yeah, the entire movie is about an FBI agent chasing the guy and the con artist trying to get away.
Yeah,
that's like basically the story.
Yeah, basically. And I mean, of course, it's got Leonardo DiCaprio in it. He's one of the greatest actors of all time. There's a lot of sort of heartwarming stuff between sort of him and his family and stuff like that. And it's just one of the best movies of the 2000s, in my opinion. So definitely one to watch if you haven't watched it before.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. So
yeah,
cool. I'll put that on my list.
I think that movie was huge when it came out, and then pretty quickly kind of faded away. I don't see it referenced very often, or like if you weren't there at the time and saw it, you might not have heard of it.
So that can be classified as a hidden gem, to be honest.
Maybe so.
Borderline. All right, guys. Well,
for the second time.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Second try. Thank you guys for giving us your hidden gems, and thank you all for listening. If you agree or disagree with any of our hidden gems, please comment down below. And however, I think you need to insert your speciality.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, of course.
Thanks, guys. We'll catch you next week with a different topic, but we will catch you also. Our next episode will be our review, which is Daniel.
Argyle.
I cannot pronounce, bro. Honestly, I couldn't even pronounce.
So it's actually going to be Ironclaw.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I got the order mixed up. Yeah, it's Ironclaw in 2 days.
Oh yeah, it is Ironclaw. Sorry, my bad. But even with Argyle, right? Which guys, you know what I'm saying, the video will be posted by the time we post this video. I couldn't even pronounce Argyle. Like even when I was at the counter buying my ticket, I was like, excuse me, can I get the movie that's at 155? What movie is that? Argyle. What? I was like, well, yeah. All right, cool. Well, guys, thank you, and we'll catch you next time. Au revoir.
Ciao.
Bye bye.